Have you ever paused to wonder if slavery still exists in the modern world? A question that might seem out of place in an era defined by progress, innovation, and liberation. Yet, it's a question that demands our attention as we embark on a journey to the heart of West Africa, to a country called Mauritania. Slavery, for most of us, exists solely in the annals of history, a dark chapter mankind has turned the page on. However, in Mauritania, it is a reality that reportedly continues to cast its somber shadow. A country where nearly 40% of the population lives below the poverty line, and the average life expectancy lingers around 60 years. A place where ancient orders persist and democratic leadership is but a distant dream. A land where the Haratine, a caste of powerless dark-skinned slaves, are owned by the wealthy. So, let's delve into the heart of Mauritania to uncover the truth. Mauritania, a vast territory in West Africa, is a country with a rich yet complex history. Encompassing over 1 million square kilometers, it is twice as large as Spain, France, or Uzbekistan. However, despite its size, Mauritania is a land where life is challenged by nature. 60% of the territory is arid desert, and recurring droughts have shaped a country where arable land is a rare commodity. The scarcity is not limited to the land. Mauritania's economy is one of the most underdeveloped in the world. Nearly 2 out of every 5 people live below the poverty line, and unemployment hovers around 30%. The average life expectancy is a mere 58 years for men and 63 years for women. Literacy rates tell a similar story, with only 59% of men and 43% of women able to read and write. Despite its vastness, Mauritania is a land plagued by drought and scarcity, setting the stage for a harsh reality. In this land of sand and scarcity, a unique social order thrives. Mauritania, a paradox of the modern world, is a place where the vestiges of ancient orders persist, despite the apparent march of progress. The political structure here is far from the democratic ideals we often associate with the contemporary world. The country is essentially governed by a ruling elite that mirrors the feudal lords of the Middle Ages. These rulers, often Arab nobility or wealthy individuals, are the unseen puppet masters, pulling the strings of power and maintaining a system that perpetuates their own authority. Underneath this ruling class there exists a special caste, the Haratine. A group of dark-skinned individuals, the Haratine are a living testament to a dark chapter of human history, slavery. This caste has no power, no voice, and no rights. They are owned in the most literal sense by the Arab nobility. The Haratine are, for all intents and purposes, the unseen rulers in visible hands, performing menial tasks and hard labor without any hope of social mobility. It's a stark contrast to the ideals of human rights and equality that many of us take for granted. Yet, this isn't a system that's enforced through overt violence or coercion. Rather, it's a deeply ingrained social order, perpetuated through generations and accepted as the status quo. This isn't to say that there haven't been attempts to change the system. The Mauritanian state itself has banned slavery 3 times, but these bans have had little effect on the ground. The power dynamics are so deeply embedded that they resist legal changes, persisting as the invisible undercurrents that shape the everyday lives of the Mauritanian people. The Arab nobility, the unseen rulers, continue to wield their power, maintaining a social order that keeps them at the top and the Haratine at the bottom. It's a system that's as resilient as the desert that surrounds them, resisting the winds of change and persisting in the face of adversity. In Mauritania, the echoes of ancient orders still ring loud and clear. Slavery, a term that evokes images of a dark past, is a present-day reality in Mauritania. The history of slavery in this country is as old as the sands that blanket its vast desert land. The dark-skinned Haratine, born into servitude, have been passed down from generation to generation like inherited property. Their lives are not their own, but belong to the Arab nobility, or the wealthy individuals who claim ownership over them. This is not merely a relic of a bygone era, but a persistent scourge that continues to plague Mauritania. Despite the state's efforts to eradicate this abhorrent practice, slavery persists. The government has, on 3 separate occasions, attempted to ban slavery. The first ban came in the late 20th century, the second at the turn of the 21st, and the third in the year 2007. Each time the ban was hailed as a momentous step towards freedom. Yet each time the reality on the ground remained largely unchanged. Why, you might ask? The answer lies in the deep-rooted societal norms and economic structures that continue to uphold this system of exploitation. Slavery in Mauritania is not just a practice, but an institution that is deeply embedded in the fabric of the society. The bans, while symbolically significant, have failed to address the root causes that perpetuate slavery. In addition, the enforcement of these bans has been lackluster at best. Slavery is technically illegal, but the law is rarely enforced. The authorities often turn a blind eye to the practice, and in some cases are complicit in its continuation. As a result, the chains of slavery remain unbroken, and the Haratine continue to suffer in silence. In the heart of Mauritania, the chains of slavery are yet to be completely broken. Despite the state's attempts to ban this heinous practice, the ghost of slavery continues to haunt the land. Until Mauritania confronts the deep-seated issues that perpetuate this system, the dream of freedom will remain just that, a dream. What is the cost of a human life in Mauritania? This is a question that carries a weight far beyond its simple phrasing, for it goes to the heart of an age-old system that still thrives in the shadows of this desolate land. In Mauritania, the cost of a human life, or more accurately, a slave's life, is shockingly low. The price of a slave varies, but it often falls within the range of just a few $100s. That's right, a few $100s. It's a sum that's less than the price of a smartphone, less than a month's rent in many parts of the world. Yet in Mauritania, this is the price tag attached to a human being. But why? Why does this centuries-old system persist? The answer lies in the intricate weave of cultural norms, economic hardship, and a lack of political will. Culturally, slavery is deeply ingrained into the Mauritanian society. It's a tradition passed down through generations, an unfortunate legacy that shapes the social hierarchy. The Haratine, the dark-skinned slave caste, are seen as property, not people. And this dehumanizing view is often reinforced by twisted interpretations of religious texts. Economically, Mauritania is a struggling nation, with a significant portion of the population living below the poverty line and an unemployment rate of 30%, many Mauritians are desperate. For the poor, owning a slave can be seen as a means of survival, a way to ensure there are hands to till the scarce arable land or fetch the scarce drinking water. Politically, while the Mauritanian government has officially banned slavery thrice, enforcement is weak. The political elite, often slave owners themselves, have little incentive to change a system that benefits them. So, the cost of a human life in Mauritania is not just a matter of dollars and cents. It's a reflection of a society steeped in inequality, poverty, and a lack of political will to change. In Mauritania, freedom comes with a price tag that many cannot afford. The winds of change are yet to sweep across the desolate lands of Mauritania. The world watches, aghast, as the medieval practices persist in this far-flung corner of West Africa. The international community largely condemns the ongoing slavery in Mauritania, a grotesque relic of a bygone era. Yet the web of geopolitics and economic considerations often obscure the path to justice. Non-governmental organizations, both local and international, tirelessly work to expose the harsh realities of Mauritanian society. They face immense challenges, from the lack of funds and resources to the hostility from those who benefit from the status quo. Despite the risks, they strive to amplify the voices of the voiceless, the Haratine, and rally the world to their cause. The United Nations and other international bodies have repeatedly called for an end to slavery in Mauritania. They urge the Mauritanian government to enforce its own laws that criminalize slavery, laws that, in practice, are often ignored. However, without concrete action and the political will to implement change, these calls remain echoes in the void. Concurrently, the Mauritanian government publicly denies the existence of slavery, painting a rosy picture of progress and development. Yet beneath this veneer of denial, the ugly truth persists. The Haratine remain shackled by the chains of their circumstance, their pleas for freedom unheard and unheeded. There are glimmers of hope. A rising tide of young Mauritanians, educated and aware, are beginning to challenge the status quo. They demand change, equality, and a future free from the shadow of slavery. Their fight is uphill, their path strewn with obstacles, but their resolve remains unbroken. The international community must do more than just condemn. It must act, support these brave souls, and pressure the Mauritanian government to implement real, lasting change. Only then can the Haratine begin to dream of a future where they are free, where they are equal, where they are human. Mauritania remains a stark reminder that the battle against slavery is far from over. As we journeyed through Mauritania, we have uncovered a truth that many may find unsettling. This nation, nestled in the heart of West Africa, is a poignant reminder that the chains of slavery, though invisible, are still very much present. An underdeveloped economy, with staggering unemployment and poverty rates, has bred a society where 40% of its people live below the poverty line. A caste system, reminiscent of medieval times, persists with a special caste of dark-skinned slaves, the Haratin, who find themselves powerless and owned by an Arab nobility. This, in a country that has thrice banned slavery, yet fails to uphold its own laws. Mauritania's political structure is far from democratic, with local rulers akin to kings by another name. In the 21st century, the shadows of slavery still loom over Mauritania, challenging us to question, reflect, and act.